Welcome everyone to a casted game of Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in the northwest corner of the map, playing in yellow. We got Beastyqt playing as the Holy Roman Empire, going by his Smurf name of course, but his opponent in the southeast, playing in red. We've got dyukusi playing as the English. Welcome everyone to Hillendale. That is the map for today. And we got a crazy matchup. I mean, where do we start? So, you know, from my playing days of Age of Empires 4, I do still play here and there, not as much as I used to. And yeah, this matchup was always my most hated. It's because I feel personally it's very HRE favoured, especially on Hillendale. It's a tricky one. Like, there's obviously peaks and troughs in terms of power for both civilizations. With the HRE, it's like a free fast castle for these guys on this map. Like, you've got your gold. It's a forward gold, but you should still be able to make that fast castle pretty easily. You may have to get an outpost, maybe wall up a little bit. The English, on the other hand, they're going to have to play for that late game kind of situation because, you know, the longbowman rush that they kind of tend to do on other matches and other maps, or at least have the potential to do, is a little bit nullified on Hillendale because, of course, you can have these small walls that really keep you safe. And it's a bit of a wall on the front, to be fair. It's not the most closed-off Hillendale map you'll see. But an outpost on the gold is going to be able to sort that out for sure for Beastie. Now, getting that castle age for the HRE is very painful for other civilizations, the opponents, because of course they can get the relics with the Regnitz Cathedral, getting crazy amounts of gold income, and then they can actually make a switch into a faster Imperial age to get the Palace of Swabia to catch up on villagers. Now, there is a window for the English, I believe. I think it's sort of late castle and then the super late game, and especially if they open up with multiple town centers. So I think generally the English will end up opening up with multiple town centers on this map. Feels like it's the best option. It feels like a feudal push is very much an all-in play for the English because, of course, the HRE will just take up to the castle age. That's all they have to do, really. They have to survive like sort of 7-8 minutes, get to that castle age, get man-at-arms, castle age man-at-arms, and then the English will be under all sorts of trouble. So it kind of doesn't really make sense to go for a fast longbowman rush on this map as the English versus the HRE, unless you want to go super all-in, which is a possibility. But then you have to be conscious that you will be going for a super all-in play. The HRE going to be taking up already with the Archon Chapel, as expected, and you know the economy for the HRE is so strong, right? With the Prelate boosting up the gather speed of villagers by 40%, it really funds that ability to get to that castle age. Right, well, it's going to be the Council Hall opening up here for dyukusi on the English. No real surprises there. It's a really strong landmark. Only building with one villager. Oh no, I take that back, 3. There's a couple there on the other side of the landmark. Now, it's often very quiet at the early stages of Hillendale, so I'll just take this opportunity to say a very big thank you for everyone supporting the channel. It means a lot to me. It's going very far as well, and hopefully with the new DLC, I'm really hoping for the channel to take off a little bit more, and maybe I can go a little bit more full-time with this, but it's certainly exciting times for Age of Empires 4 with the new civilizations on the horizon. It's going to mix things up, right? New matches, new matchups to talk about, new strategies, new game mechanics. It's going to be pretty cool. Now, it does look like it's going to be a second town centre play here for the English. He's obviously going over to Stone. And the question is, where does he place that second town centre? Now, against the HRE, going to that sort of fast castle, you're going to be a little bit worried if you want to get it out onto the lowland. Like, he could potentially go to the deer pack here, potentially. It's a little bit far away, though. That's the kind of concern you have. And the English do like to play that condensed economy and take advantage of the defensive bonuses that they get, the network of castles, but also the fact that their town centres fire double the amount of arrows. You can see they attack 8 bow times 2. Get double the amount of attack from those town centres. It allows them to be a bit more greedy. So I think generally in this matchup, the English tend to be a little bit greedy in the early game. And then the HRE kind of come online with the fast Imperial with the Palace of Swabia often. And then, like, the English do have this window where they've had a better economy for a decent amount of time, like with the second town centre. That eco needs to be funded into units and to cause damage, though, because once that Palace of Swabia comes online, things always get a little bit tricky, and especially with the greed early on, it does give map positioning, map control for the HRE to be able to get those units on the field. It's going to go up for the stable, which is kind of understandable. Archery range is an interesting choice, actually, because if you're going for a sort of fast castle build, you tend not to go for an archery range. You kind of rely on knights to get on the field in the castle age for the HRE. If you're going to go for the Regnitz, that is, the Regnitz Cathedral, which is probably what we're expecting to see here today from Beastyqt. Getting that wheelbarrow upgrade, getting specialized pick as well. So getting those nice eco upgrades. No eco upgrades yet for dyukusi. He's focusing on that second town center. The villagers coming out to get that second town center now. Question is, where does he put it? That is the big question that we're thinking about today. Just needs a bit more wood. And he will be on his way. So there's the palisade walks coming out there for Beastyqt, playing it safe. Better safe than sorry. And Scout heading out just to find out what information he can. Heading on to the sort of 6th minute of the game, and we kind of expected this sort of opening from both players. It does look like it's going to be a fast castle for Beastie. You know, the walls give it away. The fact that he's got 5 villagers on gold and everything else on food, and minimal villagers on wood, which is an interesting choice to have gone for that archer range, because of course, if he was going to go for archers, it's a very heavy wood intensive unit. He would definitely need more than 2 villagers on wood to keep up constant supply of production. Probably a bit more precautionary more than anything for that archer range. It doesn't really detract too much from a castle age time for the HRE. Maybe like 10 seconds or something, 10-15 seconds. Not the end of the world. We'll see if that makes any difference in terms of his ability to collect relics. Sometimes we do see players, opponents, actually start to wall in relics, but it looks like he's going to be focusing on just walling in himself at the moment here. dyukusi. So the idea for the English, I guess, is it's going for sort of this greedy play into a fast castle to try and match the HRE a little bit. He doesn't want to get caught with his pants down, right? Like going up against an HRE fast castle, it's always difficult. You kind of want to try and contest the relics. At the same time, you don't really want to stick around in the feudal age for too long, because that's when the HRE can punish you. Going to go for a barracks, maybe to get some spearmen, considering he is going to be up against a stable opening in the castle age for the Holy Roman Empire. Let's talk about relics, something to consider, obviously, something that Beastie will like to take. He's got 2 relics very much on his side, one here and one there in the northeast. And the other 2 are kind of mid-map, which is kind of favorable for Beastie in some ways, because you kind of have 2 that are on his side of the map. You'd expect to have 2 on dyukusi's side of the map, but really, he's only got 1. And he's actually going to be walling up the one closest to him, which is a bit awkward. Yeah, he is indeed doing that. Interesting choice to do it that way rather than just across the map, right? To the edge of the map. Probably would have been the same amount of wood, to be honest. But it is what it is. It's quite particular that he just wants the relic to be walled in. Villagers got to be careful. Only 8 HP on that guy. You won't want to run into any other wolves, that's for sure. Just going to be walling up on the east side. Maybe, I mean, this is a nice position to actually protect, to be honest. You've got gold, you've got stone, you've got a relic, you've got a sacred site as well. And I think that sacred site really favours Beastie, actually. The one in the northeast. Could be a win condition for him, potentially. You can see a lot of villagers on gold. He's going to go for that Regulus Cathedral to get that castle age. About 8 minutes on the clock. What's going to be interesting is how much he commits to that castle age. Will Beastie look to put on a lot of pressure, do a lot of damage? What do you think about just getting a little bit of presence on the map, get those relics as many as you can, and then go to the Imperial age? It's always a threat. Just a single solitary longbow there for dyukusi. So whilst that not much has happened, rest assured it's going to be a banger of a game. The reason why I can guarantee you that is because of the fact that, well, when games like this happen, it means it's setting up for the late game. And that's when a lot of action happens, of course, between these 2 civilizations. An archer or 2 coming out for Beastie. Not much more else coming in. 2 relics coming in, which is a really nice pickup there. dyukusi, though, nowhere near that castle age himself. It's going to be a good another sort of 1 or 2 minutes before he can get there. Does have a pack of 8 of farms, which is certainly nice for that food income. But you got to say, things are looking decent here for Beastie. He's already got 2 relics. Going to hopefully snag another one that's close to him. He's going to go for the one that's in the middle of the map. So he should be able to get 4 relics in total, actually. He's got a scout on hand. Really, dyukusi, he's only been able to save 1 relic, which is kind of a problem, I got to say. First relic has been deposited by Beastie. Going to be getting a bit more of a farming transition here. dyukusi does have 10 villagers in lead. And so that's what we were talking about earlier in the game, how the English can get that bit of villager lead, bit of a better eco, and then try and get a bit of a massive army lead if they can, and try and spam out units. Just around the time that the Holy Roman Empire gets that Imperial age, right? Because that's when their economy starts to really skyrocket. Speaking of which, though, that 10 villager lead is not going to count for much if these relics keep coming in. And they will keep coming in. So that's going to make the difference, I think. 2 relics already for Beastyqt. Now, the Regulus Cathedral, very nice landmark. Relics generate 100% gold, whilst garrison, and the relic can be garrisoned anywhere. It can be garrisoned in outposts, in keeps. Well, not anywhere, but, you know, defensive structures, really. There's that third relic coming in. It's picked up the fourth too, and it's kind of a problem here for dyukusi because the gold income is going to be absolutely phenomenal for Beastie very soon. And while dyukusi, I mean, you can see the gold income is actually almost, well, it is double, more than double now. And it's got 2 less villagers on gold. dyukusi, though, is going to get to that castle age now about 3-4 minutes later than his opponent, roughly. Going to go out with the King's Palace to get that third town centre, and Beastie does spot that with the Knight. So, yeah, this is the greed we were talking about that the English often have. And we'll see what Beastie does in response. Knight does dive in, going to snipe a villager. Better than nothing, but the defensive structures are doing well for the English. Going to be sniping that Knight. But he did get a villager. The first blood of the game goes to the HRE. Alright, doesn't actually have a Prelate inside the Ark and Chapel. He's focusing on food, and you can kind of understand why, right? He's going to go for that fast Imperial Age. He's going quite heavy on stone as well. Maybe to, I don't know, maybe to get a cannon in placement potentially here. Got a Relic Garrison inside this outpost. Maybe to get a keep on the front lines, actually, to get that map control. Could be an option. But we will be getting that fast Imperial, and he'll probably start building the foundations before 12 minutes. It's kind of crazy how they can do this, the HRE. Yeah, looking good. It's going to be rushing it up as well. Holy moly. So a lot of villagers, guys. 20 villagers to build that Palace of Swabia. And that villager lead that dyukusi has at the moment, 20 villagers. Somewhat negated by the relics, but also it's going to be negated very quickly by the Palace of Swabia. The good thing for the English, it does have a nice farming transition already. 2 full packs of 8. Oh no, why is this always happening? Every casted game recently. What is going on? This has to stop. This has got to stop. There's a tile gap, if you haven't noticed. And if you haven't noticed, I'm disappointed. Anyway, it is what it is. We have to look at other things in this match. Can't focus on that. Although, for the rest of the game, I'm pretty sure that's going to be etched in the back of my head. Speaking about etched in the back of the heads, well, these relics gathering that gold, there's no transition there. There's no relation between this etching in the back of the heads to anything I could possibly say from now on, so... Yeah, I thought about it for a second. Sometimes you take a punt as a caster. Try and make a transition if you can. There's no transition. Unless you can come up with one. If you can come up with a sneaky transition, how would you go from etched to the back of your head to something related to Age of Empires and what's happening now in the game? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to see what you guys can come up with. Because I can't come up with anything. Well, plenty of barracks. So it's going to go for a lot of man-at-arms, HRE man-at-arms, getting the cannon emplacements as well. Maybe just a bit fearful of being pushed a little bit. Not that many military, though, to do that for dyukusi. So this is the point in time in the game where we talked about how, you know, the Imperial Age is in, and dyukusi kind of has a window to be aggressive, but to be honest, I don't think he's going to manage it. Just doesn't have the military numbers. He's got a lot of economy. Maybe think about going to the Imperial Age himself, but, you know, it's an awkward situation. Both players pretty much itching towards that Imperial Age. The trouble for dyukusi is giving away 4 relics, and... He's got the Relics Cathedral. It's kind of crazy how much gold will be coming in now for the HRE. But what's really important for the English is to get out into the mid-map, because there's a lot of gold here on the field, and I think the other concern and the consideration for the English at this point is where does he play his Barbican? No, the Berkshire Palace. The Berkshire Palace position is going to be very key, and I think this has got to be the strong point here, because not only does it protect 2 gold veins, but it also protects the main entrance to the base, the direct entrance for the HRE to attack from. So I think it's a really nice spot for the Berkshire Palace. It will give him the ability to boom a little bit more behind that and try and get that military numbers, but whilst dyukusi does have a slightly better economy, it's not going to remain the same like that for too much longer. Not with this Palace of Swabia working hard for the HRE. Producing villages 200 times faster. Sorry, 200% faster, I should say. Not 200 times faster. That'd be kind of crazy. And a lot cheaper too. 66% cheaper to be exact. There's that Berkshire Palace, as we kind of anticipated, would be in that spot. Makes sense. We'll give him a staging ground to attack from, but it's going to need military first. See the elite man-at-arms coming up, and with the Imperial Age coming in super early for Beastie, does mean he gets those upgrades nice and early. We'd love to see elite army tactics coming in as well with the university, just to boost up those man-at-arms. Gonna get that siege workshop. And there it is. There's that university. The question is the army composition here for the HRE. Maybe a man-at-arms crossbow could be good. The trouble is with that is that the English farms and enclosures might start to outscale you a little bit in terms of sustainable economy. The game goes super late game. If the gold dries up on the map, that could be a win condition for the English, because of course they do get that enclosures upgrade. It's not as good as it once used to be. It actually used to be very broken. At the moment it's pretty decent, but I would say trade is actually a lot better in casted games I've seen recently where players are going against the English in late game and the opponents actually trade. The trading civilization actually tends to be in a good position. Like the enclosures, I feel, is more about population space rather than a sort of an infinite source of gold, because there are ways to get gold at a much larger scale. It's just not as population efficient. Well, talking about gold, Beastyqt does get that gold from that sacred site, but it's going to be under pressure now. That keep, I don't think, goes up. Village is going to be perishing quite quickly. The keep does get cancelled. We've got 2,000 stone here, ladies and gents, for Beastie. He wants a lot of keeps on the map. Don't blame him. He's starting to be pushed now. There's that military lead we talked about that dyukusi would have. But I think that will obviously disappear in the next sort of 5-10 minutes. Decaps the sacred site in the north. Certainly a pretty passive game so far. Looking to get the central sacred site here, dyukusi. Alright, well, marching drills going to be coming in for the HRE. Does let those man-at-arms have that little bit of speed. But the good thing for dyukusi at the moment, with the military advantage, he's kind of keeping a check on things, right? He's just stopping or preventing as much as possible for Beastie to try and get into the mid-map and get the sacred sites. Look at this. This is a nice awareness here for dyukusi. Spotting that, could be looking to protect the sacred sites, and Beastie has to head a little bit further back. And map control, probably edging it for dyukusi, but as time wears on, the HRE War Machine might start to gather momentum. Quite a few villages are idle here. They need to transition to something else pretty soon. You can see Beastie really extending the prelate network of increasing those villages. Gathering speed across the whole civilization. I would say actually, just a bit of a reminder. I'm possibly thinking about streaming again. And question really for you guys is, would you prefer that I stream on YouTube? Would you prefer that I stream on Twitch? I've thought about both, and I think it's a tricky one, right? Because you guys have become accustomed to seeing, pre-recorded content, like, edited content. So I don't know how you guys feel about streaming on YouTube, and just worried about the whole idea of the algorithm as well, like pushing out the streamed content rather than the videos, and will it just kind of diminish my videos at all? Especially if it's done on the day, right? Because I pretty much cast a game and upload a day. I mean, I cast many games a day and then upload the best one, really. So yeah, having a think about that. But let me know in the comment section below which you'd rather see me on, which platform, Twitch or YouTube, for streaming, that is. But we'll focus on the fight here because there are 2 mangonels underneath that keep. The keep goes up there for Beastie, and we'll get that keep in a very strong position on that sacred site. The 2 mangonels do get taken, though, and that's pretty huge. dyukusi has to head back for now. Those man-at-arms holding the lines, and yep, I think now's about the time that things start to spice up a little bit. You'll get that keep on the left sacred site as well. Get hold of that gold and that stone that he so badly wants. And keep spam coming out here for Beastie. I think it's going to probably get a keep here on the sacred site as well, potentially. It's going to move the relic into that keep, and that's going to really increase the armor. You can just see 25, plus 25 on there. It's just looking so good for the relics to come in. It just changes so much. Just take a look at this. It increases the armor by 50%. Damage is increased by 35%. Sight range increased by 25%. Weapon range increased by 20%. It's such a strong bonus. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a TC, a town center. Oh, he's got a town center here. It's not for the villages, obviously. It's for the emergency repairs. You have to be in range of a TC for that to be able to be used. And now we get into the moment in the game where actually that early villager lead that dyukusi had, the early eco advantage, is kind of not really making much of an impact in the game anymore. Because Beastie is up to 120 villagers himself. He's got a nice farming transition underneath the Arkin. He's not disappointing me with any gaps, thankfully, today. I might want to consider deleting that lumber camp, though. dyukusi expanding on the east, making sure he's nice and protected on the low ground. In the middle of the map, this is where things might spice up, though, where that Berkshire Palace is. And I like the fact that he's walling up here, because you kind of have to as dyukusi. He needs to make sure that units don't just trickle in. As I say that, a group of man-at-arms do just that. And that's going to be painful to deal with, because you know what? dyukusi doesn't actually have Steeled Arrow. Like, he literally has 0 ranged attack damage upgrades from the blacksmith, which is very surprising, because obviously the town centers are a little bit, you know, a little bit rubbish against elite units without these upgrades. But also the fact that he's got 22 crossbowmen, I think. That's a lot of crossbowmen to not have any ranged attack bonuses on the blacksmith. He is actually producing villagers from this town center as well, so 2 town centers and the Palace of Swabia. Villagers won't be a problem here for Beastie. And it's going to be going to the super late game, I think, here today, which we should be seeing some epic battles soon then, I guess. Getting the sacred site in the north. The question is, who do you guys think is going to win? I think ultimately at this stage, to be honest, like, I feel like Beastie hasn't done as much damage as maybe he could have. Like, he's banking a lot of resources, right? He's trying to methodically make his way across the map. But he hasn't put any pressure, right? The early Imperial Age wasn't really doing much for him other than scaling that economy to catch up. It wasn't really there to out-tech his opponent and do lots of damage, because dyukusi got to the Imperial Age himself and is getting those upgrades now. Now the question is, what upgrades does Beastie actually have from the university? It does have that elite army tactics coming in already for those man-at-arms. Going to make them pretty beefy. It's going to head in the east side, and it is actually open. dyukusi's got to be careful here, because it's actually open. I'm not sure if it... I mean, that wouldn't have been intentional. He should see it, though. That's such a kind of a problem. I mean, that's less than ideal. Quite a few man-at-arms, 15 of them. Load of palisades in the way. That's a little bit awkward. But he does spot that, and dyukusi's going to send his army here. Not the end of the world, because, of course, this number of man-at-arms can only do so much damage, and if anything, they're going to get swept up, right? So I think at this point, when you commit this hard for Beastie, you kind of have to get value, otherwise you're going to lose units on the retreat, right? He's lost one already. Man-at-arms tanking there on the front lines for dyukusi, the crossbows on the back, and he does have incendiary arrows on those longbows, and this is going to do a heck of a lot of damage. I mean, Beastie just kind of throwing away some units here, pretty much for free. I mean, he'll get a couple of kills with his man-at-arms versus the English man-at-arms, but with that number of crossbowmen, there's no real way for him. We do now see 2 siege workshops going forward for dyukusi, looking to get a way into taking out the frontline production. Rams coming out, though, for Beastie. I'm not sure if he's going to cut it there with the Berkshire Palace and villagers on hand to burn them down. He does have all 3 sacred sites, though, Beastie. Activated that sacred site timer, that possible win condition. And I think dyukusi, he needs to wall up. He's tried to, but the amount of time stopping that from happening is pretty nice way to deal with that, actually, Beastie there. Making sure that his man-at-arms just to deny any possible close-up, but the English man-at-arms have to be a bit careful. The crossbows aren't there just yet. Have to hold fire. Going to be fighting their way through, but he is pretty outnumbered here. And villagers coming through. I think Beastie's thinking about a keep drop. It's quite possible. In the middle of the map, Rams coming in, but there's enough there to deal with that for dyukusi. This is where the main spice is coming in. Villagers making their way through the stealth forest, and the crossbows have to focus on the man-at-arms because, you know, can't afford to let them stay alive. Getting a mining camp first. Okay, well, that's pretty ballsy. There we are. There's the keep. Prelate getting in the way. Oh, this is a problem situation for Beastie. Doesn't have any military here. Might lose a lot of villagers now. It does have textiles. But the trouble is, I mean, I think he should get the keep up in the end. There's like 20 villagers here, but I mean, it's not a problem for Beastie in all seriousness because he's got the Palace of Swabia, right? As long as he gets to keep up, that's the main thing. Even if he has to delete it, it's genuinely not the end of the world when you're playing as the HRE in this scenario. You just replace them. It's no big deal. Pretty satisfying though if you're going up against them. Gotta say. The keep does go up in the end. About 8 villagers survive. Wait, Beastie, you got a garrison. It does in the end. It loses a villager though. That he perhaps didn't need to. Here come the Rams for the English now. Okay, well, dyukusi says, well, anything you can do, I can do better. That's what he's going to do. Horsemen diving in. Going to tank that front line, but there's crossbows on the back line, and those man-at-arms can't get close. Oh, there's a trebuchet. Focusing on the outpost. I think the outpost will go up, but it'll go down as soon as it is built, pretty much. There it is. It does go down. Decent number of man-at-arms, though, for HRE, and he should be able to survive, but the crossbows naturally countering them, of course. Horsemen going to dive in on those rams. Emergency repairs comes in. Now that keep, having the relic inside is certainly helpful, but he probably will lose that keep now. The rams doing enough work, it seems. Trebuchet going to be going down to the man-at-arms. Does have 4 trebuchets though, so that's going to do a lot of damage on the Berkshire Palace. Villagers are coming out to repair. The trouble for Beastie, he lost a lot of units. It's down to 22. He doesn't have much of a food bank in the coffers there. He's going to need to keep those farms coming. Mangonel deploys. He does get a good shot on those crossbows. Decent shot. Loses the keep though, Beastie. There's a lot of villagers there. He's got to be careful not to lose those. Another Mangonel shot. A decent one. Could have been worse. Horsemen do get taken care of. Now 50 military units versus 31. Another Mangonel shot. Oh, dyukusi kind of playing with fire here. Needs to snipe that Mangonel if he can. Charge with those man-at-arms. Beastie trying to get another keep. He deletes it first though. Bit optimistic. I would love to see a spring or two coming out of that Berkshire Palace soon. Berkshire Palace remains. That's a key bit of detail. Again, the Mangonel's getting a huge shot there in the middle of the map, and yeah, Beastie going to replace that keep. He's got enough. There's 3 Mangonels in total. Oof, tried to dodge them with the crossbows, but wasn't able to. The keep will go up, and I think for now, Beastie will be safe. Mangonels completely decimate the man-at-arms on the front line. Crossbows has got to be careful. Here comes another group of man-at-arms, though, for the English. Another good Mangonel shot. dyukusi running risks here. Here come rams for the English once again on the keep. The spread formation, though, limiting the amount of damage the man-at-arms, or the Mangonels can do, rather. Still, they're dishing out a lot of damage. Crossbows, I mean, this is kind of a crazy situation, though. Beastie is kind of just banging his head against the wall, throwing man-at-arms into crossbows. He's going to need more horsemen here. Oh, this is a good pick-off there by dyukusi. Picking off one Mangonel, picking off a second, and likely a third. He's starting to break the front lines. All of a sudden, dyukusi is looking in a good position. Emergency repairs comes in once again on this new keep. I think this has got to be the 3rd or 4th keep that's kind of gone down. That's a tricky situation for Beastie. On the east side, he does still have that keep, gathering that stone, which should really have belonged to dyukusi, but it is what it is. Emergency repairs is keeping him alive, this keep, but with this number of rams, it's going to be difficult. Man-at-arms getting the torches out as well, and this is looking dicey. Beastyqt down to 7 military. This is looking really bad, and despite that food income, it's kind of crazy, right? How much food income he's got, but he's still not able to keep up with the production. Going to deactivate that sacred site in the middle. And a lot of production here for Beastie. It's going to take villager time into repairing or building those again. I like what we see. Tries to break through with a ram, but Beastie walls him in, and dyukusi did get a wall of his own, but the ram took care of it. Does get a keep in that position. I think it's strong. I think this is a bait, right? dyukusi doesn't need to. He just needs to stop any sort of aggression come from him here, but he doesn't need to focus on it. His main focus of attack has got to be in the middle. Oh, huge Mangonel shot there by 2 of those for the HRE. Trying to get that slow outpost creep coming in. The 2 both go up, and villagers firing off. They can't do too much damage, but the rams, I mean, the villagers probably come out to torch those down. Man-at-arms for Beastie still coming out, pumping out, trickling them in. I think the Mangonels is the big save for Beastie at this point. He's down to 5 minutes on the sacred site timer. Sacred site victory could be a win condition for him. Man-at-arms going to dive on those Mangonels once again. That's not what Beastie would have wanted. He doesn't have a front line, Beastie. He needs it. He's going to add in a couple of lance connector, but yeah, he's losing Mangonels. He lost 3 and lost another couple. I lose count now. Beastie wants rounds of his own to take out the outpost. Now the outpost doing great work, giving that network of citadels bonus plus 40% attack speed. Absolutely huge. Here comes some knights. But this is problematic. These heavily armored units getting countered by those crossbows. Villagers coming out for the English to torch those rams down. Does lose the outpost. Relic being rescued. Trying to get another keep here, Beastie. Has 2 culverins. 3 Mangonels, a lot of siege. The rams, yeah, they achieved taking out 2 outposts at least, but another keep going up. A 3rd in the same spot, practically. 3 rams coming out. The villagers should get this up. Well, are they going to be pushing that army away from the English? Needs to protect those 3 culverins. The culverins will take care of the rams, though, that the English have got. And as soon as that keep goes up, relic will go plop. Deposited in, no doubt. But 47 military is looking good. dyukusi at 150 villagers. Economy's looking a little bit stronger. It's just got a better bank of resources, right? Dyukusi's got 1,200 food in the bank. He's at 200 population cap. Beasty at 150 population cap and is struggling on that food bank. Even more villagers perishing. Now, the thing is, I said it's absolutely fine for HRE to lose villagers within reason. He's lost 70 villagers. You compare that to 14. And the thing that he's struggling on here, Beasty, is food. It makes it difficult. 2 more mangonels, 3 more mangonels come out. Oh, but the Manatom's diving on that again. He takes another mangonel and it's so painful to lose that siege. It's so expensive. Going to be taking out a lot of that production with those rams that the English have. Sending even more rams. The rams are certainly posing a problem for Beasty, or at least they once were, but now there are a decent number of culverin to deal with it. Not able to one-shot though 3 culverins, a ram. Here comes emergency repairs once again. Another 4th mangonel added to the fight. Keep has made sure those villagers have been able to exhaust that stone pile. Another 3 mangonels all deploys. Good hit on the longbows, but didn't dish out that much damage. Scatter formation working well for dyukusi. 4th mangonel. Now the thing is, where does dyukusi go in from this? Does he just group together and take another wave? Really heavily committing to those rams. Don't blame him. A good number of crossbows. He's got to be careful to take care of the... Wait, where are the mangonels from Beasty going? Goes a little bit closer than he perhaps needed to. Now backing off. Does deploy once again. Manatams. Oh, there's another 2 manatams. 4 manatams. There's just no front line here for Beasty. He's losing critical siege units. He's going to lose a 2nd, maybe even a 3rd. That's so expensive for Beasty to lose. He can't keep doing that because he's going to run out of gold. Like he's mining a lot of gold. But it's just a really bad trade. And he might even lose the other mangonel. I think he does. Does deploy and get a hit off, but loses the keep again. Is he going to lose his mangonel as well? Like, how many mangonels has he lost? I've lost count. Yeah, he does go down. Manatom's dishing out so much damage for dyukusi and the English. I mean, he might even snipe a culverin. He's just losing everything here, Beasty. Down to 18 military. It didn't have enough of a meat shield. It felt like he needed to back off there a little bit there, Beasty. Give up a bit of a ground and then make sure he has a front line to protect the siege. Because he's going to lose a 3rd culverin. There are springles on the field to help with that, though, for the English. So it's not all just about the man-at-arms anymore. A 4th keep going up there for Beasty. I guess it's time to summon more rams for the English. But look at that food count. 4,000 food for dyukusi. He's really taking good trades and fights. Beasty, on the other hand, struggling. He's spending absolutely everything he's getting. And it just shows you he's taking really unfavorable trades. All of a sudden, dyukusi actually looking strong in this match. Not expecting him to win, but it could be a potential outcome here. Beasty, obviously, I mean, I would argue, in many ways, considered the best player in the world in Age of Empires 4. Certainly favourite in this match and this matchup on this map. But he's looking to be under a lot of pressure. 36 military versus 7. He doesn't have anything. Guys, he doesn't have anything. 4 Springles will take care of any siege that comes out. That's absolutely huge. I think siege was what was saving Beasty. He lost it. And now anti-siege is on the field just to make sure that dyukusi isn't falling victim to mangonel shots again. Relic doesn't get inside the keep. And that's the problem. He's going to get on the prelate here. 3 rams, 3 culverin. The siege isn't so much a problem anymore with the number of springles and manatams continuing to trickle in. Speaking of trickle in, that culverin trickled in and might be losing his life pretty soon. I think he goes down eventually. Rams coming out though for Beasty. Villagers coming to torch them down with the springles. Shouldn't be too much problem. Probably loses 1 outpost. Probably not that much more than that. Now finally, Beasty keeps the siege safe. Has 4 culverins behind the palisades. Is it too late? He's really struggling on food. dyukusi in the meanwhile, 6,000 food in the bank. As we reach the 35th minute of the game almost, Manatams versus Manatams. Elite Horsemen looking to snipe out the Springalds. Oh, he's going to get a bit of payback on the siege. He should be able to snipe out these 3 Springalds. Although, he's not able to attack them. Holy moly. Okay, gets 1 Springald. I think he gets 2, but not much more than that. Probably doesn't even get that second one, to be fair. He gets it in the end, just by the skin of his teeth. The keep, again, having the emergency repairs, is held on for the keep for such a long time because of that. Probably another reason why he's held on the game so far, Beasty, but he's under so much pressure with these rams. Relic does get deposited in that keep in the end. Gonna get the cannon placement, which will certainly help if it can keep that keep up. But the trouble is it's on fire, and I think it goes down. Man at Arms, 50 military versus 9. Beastie struggling. Siege might be sniped once again. Rams keep coming. They just keep coming here for dyukusi. Wallow going off. Not so sure where, but I think it's a bit of a bait. Loses another culverin. Yeah, now, and all of a sudden, on the east side, dyukusi pushing everything back. Those villagers in gold. That's going to be a problem. He's really gaining momentum. This is not looking good for Beastie at this point. 13 rams, I think it is. Supported by crossbows and man-at-arms. It's such a strong army composition for the English, and I'll tell you why. It's because of enclosures. The farms take care of the food and the gold to supply the English civilization with the capabilities of producing, mass producing those man-at-arms and crossbows, pretty much able to counter most things. I mean, even siege, right? Like, for a long time, dyukusi didn't build a single springald. It just relied on the man-at-arms. There's villagers on gold. They're going down. We talked about it, how you don't mind necessarily losing villagers as the HRE, but what it means now, he can't gather gold, right? It's more about positioning of villagers rather than losing them, because he won't be able to gather this gold, and he needs that gold. He's lost 170 villagers so far. So much food going into that. Beastie is starting to pick up on that food, though, a little bit. As I say that, though, he's stuck on 156 population. And losing his production buildings is not going to help his situation. He's struggling on wood. This is a problem. Beastie, he's lost wood. He doesn't have wood on the map. He's got a little bit of a wood line here. He's run out of wood here. What's he got on the west side? He's got a lot of wood here, but it's not hugely protected. That's the main source of it. I take that back. He's got to keep in the town centre, to be fair. And an outpost. 2 outposts. He should be fine for wood, but he just needs to get the villagers out there. Down to 126 villagers. That keep will go down with the relic as well. And each relic that's not being deposited, it's another little bit of a win for dyukusi. Takes up the whole infrastructure there, and then now his focus here for dyukusi might be in the middle of the map. It has given Beastie a little bit of time to build up again, though. He's got 2 bombards, 4 culverins, heck of a lot of man-at-arms, but the trouble is these man-at-arms, they're going to walk into crossbows and man-at-arms. dyukusi has that front line to protect those crossbows. Man-at-arms will engage with each other, and the crossbows will have that little bit extra damage output for the English. That should turn the tide of that fight. Rams heading back, going the long way around. On the west side, there's the keep on that gold vein, and yeah, this is a situation here. That keep will go down, and even if it doesn't, if the villagers come out to repair or come out to take out the rams, he could just make more. Got 3-4 workshops there. If they just keep coming, those rams, that keep will go down eventually. Here's the main engagement on the front lines, fighting underneath the Berkshire Palace. That's already a good win there for the English. He's going to focus on the villagers on the wood. Go around the back. He's trying to snipe the siege again, once again. Will he get one? I don't think he manages to get one this time. The crossbows do get jumped on. There's man-at-arms using marching drills, getting on top of them. That's certainly one way to take the engagement, but the man-at-arms on the front lines there, always protecting the bombards, or at least they were, because the crossbows and the man-at-arms for the English are going to sweep that all away, and all of a sudden now, Beastie's down to 12 military once again. He's not able to push out. He's losing a lot of the map control. He's going to lose 2 bombards, 3 bombards. That's so expensive. And now Beastie's really suffering. Ram train heading forward once again, but the culverins going to keep them at bay for now. He needs the meat shield in front here, dyukusi. He has got the units coming though. Stuck at 200 population cap. You know, in a good spot there. Look at that 8,000 food. And he can just do this all day. Beastie's got to find a way to stop this push somehow. Does have stone in the bank, maybe to get a couple of keeps. I mean, the outpost is probably the more cost-effective way, but they get taken down pretty quickly with these rams, as you'll soon find out. He's snuck in the other side on the northeast with the 3 rams and crossbows. That's very difficult now for Beastie to deal with. Being attacked on the front and on the back, and if he splits his army, he's going to struggle to hold on one side. Man-at-Arm's going to break through with the rams in front of them. And the Springall snipe out a culverin. Nice snipe there. Here come the last push here, you feel, for the HRE and the man-at-arms. One single man-at-arm for the English held them back for a little while. And here comes his comrades. But yeah, he needs horsemen. He needs to deal with the crossbows. He never really found a counter to them in this match, you feel. Never really massed up the horsemen. Units of the backline on the farms, denying that. Food was already a problem. It's becoming even more of a problem now. Mangonels will deal with that, though. Should clear them up. But a lot of damage caused just by idling the economy. A couple of rams on the blacksmith. But where it really matters is the front. This is where the push is coming in. Man-at-arms still seem to hold, though, for Beasty, just for now. He's got a decent amount of military, 47 versus 55, a little bit more even than we've had early in the game. But look at that, the swarm just keeps coming. It just keeps coming. The forward production here working wonders for dyukusi. The crossbows in the back of the base have been cleared up. It does allow that army just to group together once again for the HRE. All of a sudden, it feels like that momentum is slowing down just a little bit. But as I say that, another group of military come in for the English. If he loses that front line there, Beastie, it does feel like it's going to be difficult to hold. Spearmen, man-at-arms, crossbows for the English. Full infantry, pretty much. Springalds are being sniped by the Culverin. Does get one. He loses all the siege there in the English, but it probably doesn't matter. He's going to make more. And the crossbows now are decent numbers that actually, to be able to deal with horsemen in low numbers, it's going to need a huge mass of them. Mangonels against mangonels, though, not so much. Here come the rams. That's what dyukusi needed. He needs to take out the siege, and then at least the production. Taking out this outpost, though, that could be a big problem. It has been fortified. A bit of a raid on the west side with a couple of horsemen. Does idle some farms. It's not what dyukusi would have wanted. You get the feeling the mainstay of his food economy, his gold economy, is right back at home, protected. This is where the action is. The outpost does go down, and now there's only a little bit of production to work his way through. The rams, I mean, the thing is, the rams are uncontested, right? There are no villagers torching them down. The military that Beastyqt does have has to focus on taking out the English military. I mean, dyukusi, I think Beastie did him a favor. That raid did him a favor. He's got more population space for that military, 78 now. And he's pushing forward heavily. It almost feels like Beastie will be losing this game. He's just trying to find a way. Obviously, he's desperate not to lose. He loses another mangonel. With the mangonels going down, it does feel like his curtains. If the siege workshop gets taken out, it feels like that's the last dice that Beastie has to throw going down. Down to 18 military versus 72. It looks overwhelming. dyukusi does have a weaker economy in terms of villager count, but it doesn't matter because look at the resource bank. Absolutely phenomenal. Very population efficient with the enclosures upgrade. And the rams can take out the remainder of the population space. 3 mangonels, but the man-at-arms are going to dive on that. Villagers coming out to repair as much as they can. Another mangonel does come out. He's keeping them alive, the mangonels. As I say that, he loses them. He lost 2, he's going to lose 3, and I think with the mangonels going down, that's the last hurrah. That's no way, I think, for Beastie to hold on anymore. The English running riot on hill and dale today. Right in the heart of the defense. And that farming transition that Beastie had is going to be idled very soon. Here come the rams once again. Crossbows in behind. Getting the outpost. This is so methodical for dyukusi to get the network of citadels bonus activated on these units, just to make things even harder for Beastie. He's probably going to be calling the towel, throwing the towel in rather, any moment, because there's just no way. There's no way he can hold this anymore. There's just too many rams, too many units. dyukusi showing us how that the English can actually triumph over the HRE. Not only that, dyukusi is about to slay a dragon, about to slay a beast. Taking out what remains, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Beastyqt does tap out. dyukusi, absolutely phenomenal performance to take out the beast, to slay the dragon. That is Beastyqt, who barely ever loses. I've got to add that in the mix. He barely ever loses, but great performance by dyukusi. Hope you guys enjoyed the casted game. Take care, and see you next time.